Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So, my name is Amirul Alimin bin Abdullah from the group A. So, in this video, me and my group members will present the mini project for automation. So, the title for our mini project is People Counter at the Entrance of Hospital. So, recently, COVID-19 has been rise all over the world with over 9,000 cases here in Malaysia, and social distancing has become one of the new norms to prevent the spread of the deadly virus. So hospital has been listed as one of the few places where the virus can be easily spread and may have a detrimental effect on the patients. Older people and people who are underlying medical condition have a higher risk of getting the COVID-19 disease. Therefore, a people counter should be installed at the entrance of the hospital ward. This limits the number of visitors which are allowed to enter the hospital ward.
So now let's proceed to the next part of the presentation, which is the process of the system. So in order to make sure the ward visitors practice social distancing, only 5 visitors are allowed to visit the ward at a time, and they have a time limit of 30 minutes each. Okay, so basically, as we know, hospital wards here in Malaysia are not the biggest and actually quite small. So in order for the visitors to practice social distancing, only 5 visitors are allowed to enter the hospital ward at each time. So the people counter is installed at the entrance of the hospital ward on top of the sliding door. So as you can see here, the arrow is as shown by arrow, the people sensor is actually installed on top of the sliding door so that it will be able to sense the human being if there's anyone in front of the entrance of the hospital ward. Okay, so when the people sensor senses someone at the entrance, the motor which opens the sliding door at the entrance of the ward will on. A sensor is placed at the end of the entrance sliding door. When the sensor senses the sliding door will stop moving for 5 seconds, which allows the visitor to enter the ward. After 5 seconds, the motor which closes the sliding door is on. Okay, so basically there's two sensors. The first sensor is the human people sensor, which I mentioned earlier. Another one is actually the sliding door sensor, which is installed at the frame of the sliding door, as you can see here at the right side of the picture shown by the arrow. Okay, so basically when the people sensor senses a human being, the motor which opens the sliding door will on. Okay, so when the motor which opens the sliding door will on, the sliding door is approaching the sensor. So when the sensor which is installed at the frame of the sliding door senses that the sliding door is approaching it, the motor which opens the sliding door will off for 5 seconds. So within these 5 seconds, the visitor at the entrance of the sliding door will have to enter the hospital ward. Okay, so after 5 seconds, after timer count 5 seconds, the motor which closes the sliding door will on. Okay, so after 5 seconds, after the human being has entered the hospital ward, the sliding door will close back. Okay, so the threshold, as I mentioned earlier, the threshold for the hospital ward is 5 visitors, and green LED and red LED are both the indicators. The green LED is on if the number of visitors is still within the threshold, while the red LED is on once the number of visitors inside the hospital ward exceeds 5 people. So after 30 minutes, the action indicator is on, which let the visitors know that the visiting time is out. The whole process will be repeated again until the stop button is pressed.
Hi, my name is Tan Hong Yi, and I'm going to present about the flowchart of the system. So, as shown in this flowchart, this is the start button. So when the start button pressed, only the system will start operate. So exit door 0. This exit door 0 is the system indicator. Next is the counter. So when the system start operating, the counter will start to count. When people sensor sense a people standing in front of the sensor, the counter will start counting. But if the people sensor equals to 0, the system will continue with ready to count. So the counter, after the people sensor equals to 1, the counter will plus 1. After that, the green LED will light up. After that, the entrance sliding door motor A will equals to 1, means the door will open. So after that, there is a sensor at the end of the door. So if the sensor equals to 1, means the door fully open. So the entrance sliding door motor A will stop for 5 seconds. If the sensor not equals to 1, means equal to 0, it will continue to slide the door. After the motor A stop for 5 seconds, the entrance sliding door motor B will equals to 1, means the door will close. So okay, next we'll continue here to count again. So when the people sensor equals to 5, only the red LED will equals to 1, means the hospital is full. So after that, the timer will start counting for 30 minutes. So means the person only can stay in the hospital for 30 minutes. So here, if the timer equals to 30 minutes, only the exit indicator equals to 1. If the timer not equal to 30 minutes, the red LED will continue to light up until the timer equals to 30 minutes. When the exit indicators equals to 1, the door will open and the people will exit. So next is the PB2. This PB2 is the stop button. So when PB2 equals to 1, the system will stop operating. So if the PB2 not equals to 1, it will move to continue to here to start counting. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. Next, I will explain about input and output of the system. Inputs, we have start push button, stop push button, people sensor, door sensor, and reset button. Start push button is to turn on the whole system. Stop push button is to turn off the whole system. Start and stop push button will be controlled by the hospital. Next, people sensor and door sensor. People sensor is to sense visitor in front of entrance at the hospital. Door sensor is to sense the incoming visitor at the sliding door. Reset button is to reset the number of visitor at the counter in the hospital. Next, we have output. Output, we have system indicator, motor 1, motor 2, green LED, red LED, and exit indicator. System indicator is to hold the start button. The system indicator will replace the start button to keep system operating. Motor 1 is to open the door, motor 2 is to close the door. Green LED will turn on when visitor is less than 5 in the hospital. Red LED will turn on when visitor higher than 5 in the hospital. Exit indicator will tell the visitor that the visiting time is up. That's all from me.
Okay, so this is the penalty system of the project. This is the ladder diagram. So in round 0, the start push button and the stop push button are functioned to start or stop the whole system, while the system indicator is the holding circuit for start push button. Okay, so when the start push button is turned on, the system indicator will turn on simultaneously with the green LED in round 5. Then, in round 1, when people sensor sense a presence of a visitor, it will turn on, and the motor which opens the door will also turn on. Okay. At the same time, in round 4, people sensor will turn on, and the counter which counts the number of visitors is added by 1. Then, in round 2, when door sensor 1 is turned on, the door sensor 1 in round 1 will also turn on. At the same time, the timer for door open will be activated and start counting for 5 seconds. Okay, so when door sensor is turned on, the timer starts counting for 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, in round 3, the time for door open indicator will turn on, and the motor which closes the door will also turn on. Okay. As you can see, the green LED in round 5 is still on because the counter which counts the number of visitors is still below 5 visitors. So this system will be repeated until the counter for people has counted 5 visitors. Okay, so now there is only 1 visitor, 2 visitors, 3 visitors, 4 visitors, and 5 visitors. After 5 visitors, counter for people indicator in round 5 and round 6 will turn on. The green LED in round 5 is turned off, and the red LED in round 6 and 7 will turn on. At the same time, the timer in round 7 will start its timer for 30 seconds. For the real system, the timer should count down for 30 minutes, but in the simulation, we assume it as 30 seconds. So after 30 seconds, the timer indicator in round 8 will turn on, and the exit indicator will also turn on, which shows that the visiting time for 5 visitors are finished. The reset button in round 4 is on to reset the people counter. So when it is turned on, the counter will reset. So this whole system will be repeated until the stop push button in round 0 is turned on. So to stop the whole system, the stop push button is turned on. Okay, that's all.
Okay, for the conclusion for this project, is people counter is able to limit the number of visitors inside the hospital ward at each time and ensure social distancing. For the next test case that were learned during lab season to prepare project related to real world process. Social distancing has become a new norm, and the people counter will massively reduce the burn of staff inside the hospital to ensure the visitors practice social distancing. Switch, counter, and timer has all been used to make sure that the system works perfectly as planned with the help of PLC CS programmers.